Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here in this quantum conversation with this interdimensional galactic guardian, Cathleena Hailley, who actually works with us to release the denser frequencies in our bodies as we go through this ascension process. Today, we're talking about understanding the mind matrix. And as we've gone through this time of great shift in our life, we can certainly see where the mind matrix can limit us, and it can just keep us in a mental construct of not good things. So we're going to talk all about this today with Cathleena Hailley. Welcome, Cathleena. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lauren. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to participate with your audience and bring some fun things, I suppose.
Yeah, some fun things. You know yourself as an embodied Arcturian, as an incarnated Andromedan, and also as a member of the Council of Nine Galactic Collective. Before we get going into understanding the mind matrix, share with us your awakening to this beingness of you. How did you discover all this about yourself?
Yeah. Well, I like to really share that I came in the world on is the way that I experience it. And some of the very first things that I noticed as a very small child was that when my parents would speak to me, I would hear whatever came out of their mouth, but I would also hear their thoughts, and it was different from what came out of their mouth. And then I would also feel their feelings, and that was even different. And so it was kind of very confusing as to what was going on. And I had my father was fairly awake, and there was a lot of chaos, a lot of things going on. But one of the things that he did offer me and my siblings when I was very young, I was about 6 when I learned transcendental meditation. And so as I began to meditate, and I really recognized this later in life, but as I began to meditate, I noticed that there were 2 beings that were with me, and it was a male and a female. And we would go, when I would go first into meditation, they would show up and we would be holding hands. And later I realized it was Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. And then I would be taken from with them into what I referred to as the Akashic records, because I could see like this big building and these pillars and so on. And there were that's when the council was, I think, at the sort of entrance of these Akashic records. And that was how I was introduced to the Andromedans, Arcturians, and so on. But I didn't know who they were until many years later. And so, it was a bit confusing. And, even as a small child, you have to imagine what it's like to be able to hear the thoughts of your parents and to feel their emotions. It was very, very challenging, so it was a lot of internal stuff. And so I think what helped me through it was these galactics and these beings of light that were with me. It wasn't until many years later, actually, it was probably about 1996, that I, through a series of events, I ended up having this psychic reading. And that's when I was kind of officially introduced to the council and to some of these other groups. And I was told that time I did automatic writing. And so I began to, do it. They said, go to the same time in the same space, and we were going to bring you a lot of information. So I began to do that. And that was kind of my more guidance aspect. And initially, it's had huge exponential shifts and changes. And it's kind of funny because even more recently, I'm like, wow, I've done this before. You just start to realize who you really are. where we come from, because we're all multidimensional beings, and we're just, coming into this awareness of these many, many lifetimes. And I have all this kind of awareness of having done all of this before in the many lifetimes, and it's becoming easier and easier and easier, and it's very interesting because it's always been for me, very simplistic. And I realized that that's the key to everything. Everything is very, very simplistic. And that's how these consciousnesses that have been here on the planet, that have been guiding humanity down these pathways that we don't want to be, because they don't create, we create. They've done it because in a way, the way that it's been able to happen is because everything is very simplistic. So on the planet, we've been guided away from simple. It's like, oh no, it can't be that simple. It's got to be more challenging. And so, that happened to me also, where all this information came in very young, and I had levels of awareness, but I always sort of had this idea that everybody else knew, and I couldn't, quantify it with anyone, because it was, I was the only one that I knew that was speaking about some of these things. So anyway, it's just been kind of this interesting game of unwinding what we all really do know, and that's what I'm here more as this individual who, part of how I chose to incarnate is as what I refer to as a frequency alchemist, which has I carry the 0 point. So I carry the kind of perfect pitch range of all frequencies. And that growing up was also very challenging, because when I come near a person, there's a calibration that happens. And even just speaking, there's this calibration that happens that comes into this kind of centered point with the individual, and who they are, it comes to the surface. And if they don't like that, if they don't want that, they don't have a choice, because it happens, it happens in general. But I think that's all part of, this just sort of the awareness that we do all, we know all this, and we're already, perfect. There isn't anything to kind of figure out. There isn't, it's more to release all the belief systems that say that I don't have it, right? And then I'm not perfect. So anyway.
Oh, beautiful. And so that is where understanding the mind matrix comes in,
Mhm.
because this is all mental constructs.
Yeah.
So here we are in
Mhm.
a time in our world, and this just came to me. It's like, do we surrender to love, or do we keep resisting because of the fear that's up? So maybe that's a great place for us to begin today, is to talk about this. It does come to the simple choice between love and fear.
Mhm.
It's not so easy, though.
Mhm.
So, what is the mind matrix then? Is
Mhm.
it just living in the mind like we've been programmed?
Well, I see it as an actual structure. So and the structure is these pentagonal shaped boxes, like little pentagons, and they're pentagons because that's a closed grid container. And so it's actually like a grid, excuse me, like a grid structure. And it's within the physicality of the brain, and also it is in with the whole body and different aspects of the body, depending on the belief systems and so on. And so what makes up this structure are the belief systems that you've taken in, and a lot of the belief systems of the collective. So, when we're a child and we're first coming into this body and into the incarnation, we are our multidimensional self, our full multidimensional self coming into form. And the first frequency really that we are indoctrinated with on the planet is fear. And it's because, we're told automatically who we are and what we can and can't do, and the limits, limitations, and so on. And a couple of things about that. First of all, fear is not an authentic frequency. And what I mean by that is authentic frequencies have a wavelength. They actually have a communication. It's a synergy. It's actually a geometric communication with each other. fear is a chaos frequency. So what it does is it bounces all over the place, and it only exists if we keep following it. And so I describe it like if you took one of those, like the dreidel, the Jewish child's toy, in this little spinning top, and you spin that, it's balanced. That's going to spin and spin and spin. That would be like an authentic frequency. A chaos frequency or a fear frequency would be if that were not balanced weight wise. And so what will happen is you go to spin it and it'll stop. So the only way that it continues is if you keep starting it. And that's fear. Fear doesn't exist because it's not an authentic frequency. You have to follow it around. And how that occurs is by like through these belief systems where, you identify yourself as something instead of recognizing that you're God, your source consciousness, here to have an experience. You become, what it means to be a girl or a boy or in your family or whatever. Those belief systems actually create the edges of these pentagonal shaped boxes. And the more of those that you carry, the denser sort of those become. And why this is important is what happens is so we as consciousness, so as a soul, our soul is consciousness, different from the conscious mind. Consciousness is information. So we are information of source. So we're basically like this giant library of information of source, because we are an aspect of source consciousness. So we are information of source. So we're like this giant library. And the design of the human body is that we take this giant library of information, which is basically the software, and we download it into the brain, which is like the hardware. And then that communicates to the physical body and then communicates outward as frequency and vibration that creates. And there's an actual creative process that I can talk about that happens. But that's not what we're doing. What we're doing, because of these belief systems that we're told, what we're doing is we're taking this giant consciousness and we're sitting it in these different boxes, and the boxes are separate from each other, and they're not even communicating with each other. And the boxes are something like, how I can create a relationship, or how I can create a job, or whatever, and it's sort of the parameters that your belief system is around your creative process of what you desire, because humanity gives you these limited belief systems. So these are these boxes. So you're basically taking your giant consciousness, you're sitting in these boxes that aren't even communicating with each other, and you're listening to a book being read to you. And that book is the collective beliefs. And then you're dialoguing that book to your body and to the world and using that to create. So you're really not creating it all, right? So this is why it's important to understand about this mind matrix. And then also the fact that this matrix, because these belief systems are also engaging down into various aspects of the body, because, we're communicating through consciousness to the physical body. And so the releasing of this is allowing for you, your authentic self, to engage within the physical body, because we have it actually an unlimited ability to create within the physical body. We have what's called a human template, and I refer to it as a template, PLET, because there's more than one. And the idea is it's kind of a container, so to speak. And why that is because consciousness either expands or contracts. So it's basically expanding, and consciousness it exchanges information with other information, is what it does. And so in order for it to create the idea of a physicality, it needs kind of a container, right? So think about it like the egg and the sperm. So the egg is information, the sperm is information. They exchange information with each other, and then the exchanging begins to expand. But because the egg has this kind of container, it expands on top of each other, which begins to create like a structural form. Well, that's like what we have. We have this sort of container called a human template, so that our consciousness has the unlimited ability to create within this this kind of structure, within the body. But we're not utilizing that when we are, keeping our consciousness within these pentagonal shaped boxes within our brain. So that's part of it. I could share more about the actual creative process as well.
Yes, please do, because it's really fascinating.
Sure.
Now, let me ask you, all right, so a belief system,
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing it as it actually, like different aspects of one belief system, like, for example, I mean, there's so many layers to belief systems. BS is what we call it,
Yeah.
BS.
Yeah.
Belief systems. And
Right.
so if
Right.
you say, all right, and maybe it's lack consciousness, and maybe there's a bunch of different pentagonal shapes,
Mm-hmm.
but the belief systems actually form the edge of it. So are you able to determine, like when you work with people, can you see, because of one belief system, how it is connected to the other shapes in that pentagonal structure,
Yeah.
even though they're not
Yeah.
connected?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes, yes. And where it's migrated into the physical body and all that, and on many, many dimensional levels. How
And
I
where does it
work.
migrate into the body?
I'm sorry, what?
You can see it migrate into the
Yes.
physical body. And so
Yes.
share an example, like where do you see it go?
Well, again, it depends on you have to imagine, this is all about how we are creating, it's what our belief systems are in terms of creation. So, and you can feel it. So, very commonly, you'll see a lot in the digestion and in a lot of the organs, the liver, the kidneys, the heart, different areas, whatever it is that we, align the belief system with. So, say it's something, of creating. A job or something. Let's just say in relationship to that. And there's a lot of things about this. And this is a jump a little bit ahead, but I'll talk a little bit about what's in the offer that I'm doing. But an example might be, if you, so as a child, say you're a small child and you're a little girl and you're playing in the dirt and you're being really rough and goofy and so on, and somebody comes up to you and says, that's not how a little girl acts, and they tell you, that to change and be stiffer and change your body, whatever that you do, right? So imagine now this little girl now is like carrying herself in this more rigid way, right? Well, the creative process in general, like within your mind, so how we create as conscious creators is that we have a thought, and the thought is actually it's the mental masculine aspect of your creation. It is the blueprint of your creation, is the thought. So we have a thought that actually comes out of your head as a geometric shape. And every thought does. And when you hold that thought 14 seconds or more, and whatever emotion that you give that thought, the emotion is the spiritual feminine aspect of your creation. It is the creator or the creation itself. And so you've got this mental masculine blueprint, your thought. Now you add the emotion to it. You hold that 14 seconds. What it does is it moves into what's called a unified field within your heart. And in there is where all things show up. So it finds a match. Then it actually moves down into the earth, creates a match, comes back up into your heart, and then comes out into the physical world. So this is actually how we are creating. So if we use the example now of how this matrix works and where it goes in the body, so if we go back to the little girl that now has, been told that's not what a little girl means. So now she's stiff, right? So now she's carrying a certain stiffness about her beingness. So if we go to her now going to create a job, what's going to happen is that mental aspect and the emotional aspect are going to be stiffer. So they're going to be more about a practicality. It's going to be more about what she thinks she can do than the freedom of what she really wants to do, because she's not in that. So as we begin to create from that same stiffness that we're talking about within the body, it can create acidic within the stomach area. It can create all kinds of things that are going on depending on how that is really sort of stifling the true essence of the individual. I mean, if it's in a place of just complacency, then it can hold the heart, it can hold it shut, a little bit. It can hold definitely organ structures, and I mean, it just, as I said, is a variance of how these things work. But we're consciousness and energy, so there's no skipping a beat kind of thing. We just, that's what I'm saying. It actually is kind of simplistic if you really think about that, because it kind of makes sense, right? If I'm stiff, then everything about me stiff. It doesn't skip, right? It's not like, oh, I can hold this, but it doesn't mean I'm still going to do that in my job, or I'm not. We are. It's going to be a pattern, because, and especially once we've indoctrinated ourselves with this fear, which we're bouncing around, and this container of which we're in. You see what I mean? So it begins to make sense as we start to really dive into it and go, oh, wait, yeah, look at this pattern of, and I mean, even the same way, how you'll choose relationships will still be in that same way. You'll be doing it in a way that is this more stiff, this holding on. I mean, it goes into many, many layers. It also flips into places of doubt, depression. I mean, there's a lot of cycles and a lot of different things about that, and many, many layers of how this plays out. So,
Mhm. So, how do we begin to really come back to that authentic self? I mean, I just want to laugh right now
yeah.
because, I mean, it can get humorous when you see how much we've totally limited ourselves. And when we look at New Earth and we know that it comes from just not only no fear, we can't bring fear with us into the fifth dimension,
Mhm.
but there is integrity and authenticity. And I've seen people in New Earth, I've seen the world in New Earth, and everyone's compassionate and considerate and loving and respectful. But it's really wild too, because everyone, it's, I mean, it's the 60s on steroids or
Yeah.
something. And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean to be scary for anybody or anything or anyone, but I mean, if we're thinking about true authenticity, how
Yeah.
do we begin to unravel that then? I mean, is there a, how do you do that with your clients?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot, really is all about the 0 point. You're going to hear a lot about people talking about the 0 point, or the present moment without judgment. And so really what it is it's the ultimate letting go. It's realizing that this vehicle is everything. This body is everything. This is the millionaire. This is the relationship. This is the perfect health. Everything's here because I'm consciousness engaging in this vehicle, right? So it's really being the conscious observer of this vehicle with pure love. If I'm like, okay, Cathleena, what is it that you need? What are you feeling? Where are you? And being able to be that observer with pure love and no judgment, and begin to just kind of like, okay, so what's happening? Where am I holding? What am I doing? And being able to let go, because this is the magic of it, is we are amazing creative beings. We are God in physical form, we're this consciousness, and that we have absolute 100% ability as to what's happening in here, whether we realize that or not. In terms of that recognition, am I holding? That's kind of the first things. It's like, am I holding? Because here's something that I've said before that I think is something so profound, that if humanity could just really get like one thing to understand. The thing is that in this whole ascension process, like, we are not ascending, the body is ascending. This is like this ascension where we're bringing in more of our consciousness. And as we do that, see, we are fifth dimensional or higher beings. The body is vibrating at the third dimensional rate. The body is the thing that's vibrating at these denser frequencies. We are not, because we are fifth dimensional or higher beings. And so as we continue to engage in our body and let go, as we let go, we stop feeding the machine. And the example was given to me that, imagine that, you have a room, and you imagine that, the room is a certain size, and you have in the corner of the room is a candle, and that candle is lit. And so you have, 25% of the room is light, that means 75% of the room is dark, but the room is still the same size. And so this is like our consciousness. And the idea is the difference between light and dark is just simply light is information, dark is an absence of information. So I'm only engaging a 25% of my consciousness, my information within my entire soul. The idea, 75% of it will be utilized for somebody else. And that is all the things that we don't desire. So you imagine that if we can let go, because it is the contracting of the light, it's the hiding that in the corner of the room that's making that 75%, because the room is the room, right? So all I have to do is expand my light and I own the whole room, because I own the whole room regardless, right? So imagine that within your body. If we just let go and we continue to expand our light, then all of what you don't desire would simply disappear, because it only exists because I'm contracting my light to create it. It's not being created within itself. You see what I mean? It's a contraction of my light that's creating it, creating the darkness. You see, because I am consciousness. And so this is this idea, like, what do we ultimately do? We ultimately let go. And the idea of the 0 point is the place of no thing and all possibilities. It's not zero. It's not just presence, because there's a first presence that I call kind of the false neutrality, which is the place where we get present, we have our feet on the floor, we recognize, where we are, but we're in our head and we're dialoguing what we can and can't do. We're in that mind matrix. We're still there. We have to go beyond that. Okay, we have to let go. And I often tell a story about, you could literally say, I have no idea where my money's coming from. Right? We can have that as whatever you believe, that's your literal, right? But we have a choice about how that's going to affect me. And the actual 0 point of letting go in that could just simply go, yep, I have no idea. I don't know where that's coming from. But I'm going to breathe and I'm going to let go and I'm going to allow, because as I'm doing that and I'm engaging my pure consciousness, you will have a sense of knowing. You will have a sense of who you are, about, what physical steps to take you in the directions. Not only that, but energetically, see, what happens is in the privacy of your own home, because we are energy, right? So whatever is vibrating here in this body is what is vibrating out and is creating a match. So if you're able to get into that 0 point and you're able to start to be playful and have your imagination, because imagination is not imagination what we're taught, it is the creative process. So if we allow that in the place of joyous and excitement and exhilaration and fun, we're radiating all that out to the universe, which is going to match back to you. And it'll match relationships, it'll match abundance. I mean, we are divine abundance, that's our birthright. And all these things. And this is the thing that nobody's realizing, because what we believe, we see. But what's happened is we've been given things to see, so we believe them. So we've got this inverted matrix going on, right? So in order to stop it, we just have to let go of it. That's really what it is, So it's simply coming into that now, letting go, breathing, letting yourself be in the most amazing, joyous, childlike exploration, curiosity of this now moment. And, you don't have to fill it with anything. You're just like, I don't know, but feel good. Let excitement come in, let joy come in. And then with that, your imagination, and it's going to bring you all these amazing things, including perfect health, all sorts of things. So, and that's what I say, it's super easy and super hard at the same time, because it's just a dialogue. And one more thing I will say about that is that, so everything's about matching frequencies. So this is all we're doing in human existence, is matching frequencies in order to be comfortable, because we are consciousness. It's what we do. So the idea of matching frequencies, we'll use the example of like emotions. Okay. So a simple idea of matching is that if you and I come around each other and I'm happy and you're mad, and by universal law, a faster moving frequency always tries to raise the slower one up. So happy is vibrating faster than mad. So what's going to happen is you and I come around each other. I'm happy, you're mad. My happy is going to give you a bump. It's going to irritate you. I'm going to irritate you because I'm trying to raise your frequency up, right? So as long as I maintain my happy, you only have two choices. You either meet me at happy because it's about matching, or you go away. And we all know, right, that we've been around somebody that I'm happy and you're mad, and they're not happy till you're mad, right? Because you end up lowering your frequency. Well, this is super important because this is the other piece that happens, right? So as remember, I'm fifth dimensional or higher being, so I'm already vibrating at a very fast rate. My body is not vibrating at that rate because I've had all these belief systems. So as I am engaging more of myself in that 0 point, I'm irritating my body. So I might start to feel nervous, anxious, all these energies. So the trick is with that is to not embody it. Okay, to realize it's simply releasing out. Now, a couple things with that. So we don't embody it. We just like, okay, yep, there it is. Yeah. But I'm not choosing that anymore. I'm just going to choose. And it's not like shutting it off or controlling it or anything like that. It's simply recognizing, yep, there it is. Like about the money. If I don't know where my money's come from and I tend to be fearful, I can be like, okay, well, that fear wants to come in, but you know what? I just really don't want to engage that right now. I'm just going to keep breathing. I'm going to let go. I'm going to do the best I can. Then it's, I'm not embodying it anymore. I'm going to keep embodying my higher self. It's going to keep dissipating. But the other thing is as it's dissipating sort of out, it's going to find a match somewhere too, which means that you may start to recognize that your environment, your clothes, everything is frequency, that these have been matching these dense, like I'm stiff or I'm this or I'm that. They've been matching it, right? So as you continue to embody, those things aren't going to be synergy with you anymore, including maybe your home, maybe your partner, maybe your job, maybe your whatever. And so, these are the things that are occurring. And it's like just really being able to allow yourself permission, right, to keep being in that happy, joyous place, to keep kind of feeling like, who am I? You see what I mean? And so this is this process that's going on. And so, it really is just about being in that now moment, just like the little kid. If you can be that really little kid that is just super inquisitive and curious, because we have nothing to lose to do that, right? Even if whatever I think is my world, why not play with that? Why not, But we're taught, oh no, if you do that, then you're not responsible, or you're not. That's there's so many mechanisms, right, to keep looping you back in. But this is where you have to keep reminding yourself, wait, am I going to keep that story that is controlling me because I'm doing that within my own being? Or am I going to begin just realize that's just playing out? And what am I feeling? What do I want to feel? See what I mean? So I know it was a lot. It was channeled through.
Yeah, that was channeled through, and that was a process in itself, just listening and seeing how you unravel that. And it is as simple as the awareness of that belief and feeling that in our body and breathing through it and choosing the now moment to let go, to be in that 0 point. So that was a little process multidimensionally here for us in this 3D body.
Yeah.
All right, you really explained the shift
Yeah.
very, very well. So I would love for you to interact with some of our listeners.
Sure.
So for those who are in our Zoom audience, which this is pre-recorded, by the way, so our Zoom audience is where you want to be, acoustichealth.com. You can register and join us in all of our shows. If you're in our Zoom audience and you have a question for Cathleena and you'd like her to help you unravel from something and let go, please raise your hand. I wanted to say, as we're waiting to interact with our audience, that it has come to me lately that it's a surrender to love. Do you think that in our world, I mean, this is so basic, so
Mm-hmm.
basic, kind of simple, but not very easy at all.
Mm-hmm.
If we just considered, what if there's nothing wrong? Surely we're all in the right place and the right time,
Yeah.
moving towards love. We're all remembering the love of our heart and moving from this mind into our heart. And when we're in the heart, there's nothing wrong.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's key too. What you just said is that the idea The difference between the false neutrality point and the authentic 0 point is from moving from the head to the heart. That's exactly what it is. It's when we step out of the mind and we drop into our heart. That's when we're actually fully in that present moment awareness without judgment. And you're right, because we're God consciousness, we're perfect and there isn't anything wrong, because we're just here for experience, and we're all God consciousness, and it's all, we're just all, I mean, everything ultimately is light. Even the darkness has just forgot that they're light. So it's all, God. It's still God. It's still God consciousness.
Yes.
So yes. And I was just going to say that the idea of love too is, we hear about this self-love, and it, there's several things, like we're taught so many things about the separation matrix, that we have this illusion that if I'm just me and I truly love myself in a way, that I'm separate and it doesn't have any effect. And that's not true, because it is the law of one. I'm you, you're me, we're one. And that really ultimate place of that loving, this self is recognizing that I am love, and the pure love as source of source. And the body, to be in such gratitude and appreciation of this amazing vehicle that I am as God consciousness engaging in, and to have, the sort of unraveling process is, if we can, really like honor what this body has been through not just this lifetime, many, many lifetimes. And I've gotten to a point where I can go, oh my gosh, thank you so much for everything that you've been through, and for all of this, information, this idea of these experiences. And I love you so much. And you be able to really engage that within yourself. That is that really embodying these highest forms of pure source consciousness in physical form, as representation of, pure source here, law of one. I mean, that's how that really occurs, in that truly honoring what this whole being has been experiencing. And as we're doing that, see, we are our God consciousness communicating with this body. You have to understand, this body is not just mine, it's yours, it is the matrix, it is all those energies and frequencies. We're bringing those into a place of synergy and balance as the representation, of energy, to be able to be matched, because remember, everything's matching. And so if we don't have these higher levels or authentic frequencies to match, we're going to be seeking around all the time as consciousness. You see, and this is what we're doing as holding the light more and more.
All right. I know we're going to take some questions from our audience, but do you want to just take a few minutes? You're actually activating us right now,
Yes.
Coming in through our mind, but speaking to our hearts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we're already there, but I just want to give you a moment to maybe lead us through something that gets us truly into the heart, 0 point energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to step in, because I can feel a lot of energy and a lot of things that are going on. So I will, we'll just do some kind of bringing into balance and some clarity. So if you guys want to just close your eyes and take some deep breaths. And partly how I work is through sound and light language, all sorts of things. So just kind of go with it. I make noises and all kinds of things. All right, so just close your eyes, take some deep breaths. It's beginning to spin out of the heart some hopelessness, some fight or flight, anxiety frequencies. I'm just going to clear these. I'm going to clear all fear frequency on all timelines, all dimensional fields. Just taking this from the heart, disengaging this from the mind. I'm going to disengage from the mind itself. Let's take some deep breaths. I'm going to disengage from the mind itself, the false masculine frequencies of limits, limitations. Expand your light. I'm moving down into the solar plexus. I'm clearing through the identification matrix, through the archetypal identification and the gender role confusion, any fight or flight frequencies, victim victimizer frequencies, holographic inserts, consciousness traps, reversal timeline loops. Clear all that out. Clear through the roots. I'm going to clear the fear frequency out of the root. It's a fear of being here. It's a survival. I'm going to take out that survival frequency. I'm going to bring in the authentic I am presence. Take a deep breath. I'm going to bring in Sophia Gaia is going to come up around you in a plasmic field, like a rebirth of the authentic codes of her ascension. So it's the oneness, so that we're going to calibrate you in all of your fields, mental, spiritual, physical, etheric, to Sophia Gaia for the oneness of your divine Earth Mother. So you can let go. Just imagine letting go into the arms of your divine Earth Mother. Beautiful. I'm going to bring another field around you. This is your divine source, Mother, Father, God. I'm going to bring in a pink and blue light of the divine parents, Mother and Father, the authentic divine Father and divine Mother frequency. We're going to engage those in all of your fields, mental, spiritual, physical, etheric, and I'm going to bring them into your central channel to take out any fight or flight, any fear. I'm going to take out the victim, victimizer frequencies, and the limits, limitations. And bring all of this into your heart and spin this in your heart with a very high frequency diamond white light. This is the Christed body. I'm going to bring that into the heart and bring that into your entire bone structure. Your bones become bright, bright white. This is the you, the highest form of you in physicality. I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to bring in also a golden light. I'm going to reach back to your origination within your solar plexus and pull forward a golden light. This is you before you ever came into form. And I'm going to spin this through all lifetimes, all dimensional fields, including this lifetime, and the remembrance of the I am that. I'm going to bring it all the way up, and we're going to send it through your entire central peripheral nervous system, all the way to the fingertips, the toes, all organ structures, the brain stem, brain, in remembrance of the I am that. Begin to bring all this calibration into this divine present moment. So we're imagining energetic roots now coming through your legs, wrapping around the core of Sophia Gaia, their crystal clear roots. We're calling in the diamond, 18th dimensional diamond collective of water, bringing in divine clarity. So coming into this 0 point moment, now moment, bringing all this into your heart. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Letting yourself come down into your heart.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful. We hope that every person watching and listening is feeling that. This is how we do it. This is our center. This is our hearts. This is our new way of creating things, moving in creation from this place. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yes, that was beautiful. You know, I want to share when you said the I am presence in the root chakra. Wow, that was a new one for me. And that was really very special because that usually is a chakra that is more challenging for me personally. So that was really wonderful. And talk about embodiment. So thank you again.
You're
Awesome.
welcome. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah.
I'm going to go to our audience. Let's go to Diana. I have allowed you to talk. Hello, Diana. You can unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Cathleena. Hi, Lauren. Thank you.
Hi, Diana.
So my question is, how do you bring parts of yourself back to yourself? How do I explain this? I almost like the first 5 years of my childhood, I don't remember. I almost feel like some part of me was here, but it was not here.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you regroup? How do you bring parts of yourself back to you?
Well, the first thing that I got as I stepped into your energy was to command 100% of my source life energy back into my heart. I command 100% of my source life force energy back into my heart. I command 100% of my source life force energy back into my heart. I command 100% of my source life force energy back into my heart. So we're calling in those soul fragments to come into your being. And as you continue to do that, the awareness of the experience and the idea of what the soul fragments went through will come forward. You know, it's just bringing back into your body. They're hanging out, which is why you haven't been able to remember.
Right.
So that's the practice that I do. And so we just did that. So they're all coming in now. It's a lot of information's coming in. It's also a letting go. It's allowing, you have the information. Often what happens is that we make decisions in our life in terms of relationships and things like that that are not truly in synergy with our life. And it is where these soul fragments have been hanging out. And we run into fear where we don't want to make those decisions, where we know that certain things are not really working in our life, whether it's work or relationships or where we're living, these types of things. And when we're not truly honoring those, that's what keeps those soul fragments kind of in the distance. So as we begin to honor them, and the first honoring is the recognition within the self. So it's not like I have to go and physically make a bunch of changes right away. It's just I need to begin to honor them. I need to begin to get real with myself. As I truly get more and more real with myself, those type of whatever's meant to be that come forward as an actual memory will come forward, but definitely the emotions and the energy will have much more clarity. And it's not just this lifetime, it's many lifetimes. I can feel it. I can feel it in your heart. It's already coming forward.
Yeah, I feel it in my heart.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah, it's wanting, and it's going to move up to your voice. It's like this is where I can feel it right here. It's related to relationship. I think it's levels of where partnership and things like that, and whatever, something in you about your engagement in relationships in general. So it's not necessarily whether partner's good or bad or whatever, or if you have a partnership or not, that it's more about honoring. It's like honoring myself of who I really am. That's what I'm feeling is really fully coming in strong.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I felt that. That was really amazing.
Great. Yeah, I could, if you decide to have a private session, we can definitely go into that, because I definitely felt there was a lot coming forward. And I would suggest that if that's possible with you.
Awesome. Yes. What is your website again?
We have a plan here.
Sure. Yes, you can get personal sessions with Cathleena. I'm going to put in the chat the link to that, and we're going to talk about her personal offer, her special offer in just a moment. But that is a great way for everyone watching and listening to work with Cathleena. All right, thank you. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you both. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, good. Let's go now to Larry. Hi, Larry. You can unmute yourself when you're ready.
Fantastic.
Hi.
Hi. I immediately felt the energetic shifts from your tones that that were being activated.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and that's my experience is being able to receive, and but what the conversation about being in that childlike wonder, being in that curiosity, and being in that state of play and joy. Mm-hmm. That's my body isn't cooperating in order to hold that willingness, and is there a way of being able to command my body to relax and enjoy that exuberance of being a child again?
Yeah, it's really coming from the masculine frequency. It's a dialoguing. I think it's father, grandfather energy. I can help release some of that. We can do a little bit right now if you want. I can take a little bit of that out. I can see it hooking, and where it's hooking in, it's a dialoguing. That's the initial what I see that's going on. It's how you're supposed to be. And so but it's a lineage that I can see that's attaching into the heart. So we can release that right now if you want for a minute.
Beautiful.
Okay. So let's close your eyes, take a deep breath for a second. Let me just step in. I'm just going to disconnect this from the heart, and we're going to disconnect it's a deep rooted frequency of the male, and it's really the male. It's the divine feminine aspect of male, which is in the physical male body, which is really the creator. There we go. We're just going to disconnect that. And it's allowing for that full creative, there we go, full creative ability. That's
I'm
perfect.
feeling that.
There we go. Keep breathing and allowing. And I'm just going to take that completely out of its full root of where it's coming through the right side of the chest. And we'll pull that out. It's a cord. And you take it right out. Take a deep breath. And disconnect it completely out. And take it out of all timelines, all dimensional fields. That's great. Deep breath. I'm going to take a little bit more from kind of the side of the body too. It's been a bit of compression there. It's a little bit of confused of the divine feminine. This is some of the dominant females that have been connected to the males. So I'm just going to take that out and we'll take the pressure off. Take a deep breath. This is right around the right chest, kind of side area. Take a deep breath. Deeper breath. There you go, deeper breath. There we go. Good. Take a big breath now through your whole chest. There you go. That'll feel a lot better.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm getting this this wave of joy that's just coming through me right now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. That's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Beautiful.
Thank you for receiving the joy, Larry.
Yeah. Hey.
And sharing it with the world.
Yay.
Gaia thanks you too. Thank you, Larry.
Absolutely. Keep expanding that. It's beautiful.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
And we have Tina. Hi, Tina.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Sure. Yes.
Yes.
Hi. Hi, Cathleena. Hi, Lauren. I
Hi.
believe a lot of things you already did today may be helping Michael.
Yeah.
It's been really, he was diagnosed maybe a month and a half ago now, and he's really doing well, except they put some fentanyl patches on him like 2 weeks ago, and it just took, I feel like it took some of his life force out of him. He's been not, he can't eat. He wants to eat so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I tell him he's had many healing things or injuries in the last 6 years, from broken leg, broken hip, shot in the leg, stroke, and now this. I tell him he's a big oak tree with his roots in the ground, and he just needs to hear or know that he's loved or something. I don't know. There's just something that's besides me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if you could have anything, and also interested maybe in getting a private session for him.
Yeah. I would have a session. I can see where he's just disconnected. The body is actually pretty healthy. I mean, really, this is all just coming through archetypal energy and things to the solar plexus. And I'm kind of, talking to his higher self and getting sort of a little bit permission to do a little bit of work. But I can see it. Yeah, it's like a plug. There's like a plug on the solar plexus, so it's blocking. But it's more surface. It's really in this lifetime. It's whatever is going on in this lifetime. And once we remove that, it'll be a big difference in the energy. It's wanting to be held right now in an identification. It's an identification of self. It's an archetypal. It's like a fear. There's a huge fear there of letting go of some aspect of who he is and who he believes he is. And that's what that is. It's really hanging there. Yeah. And it's really hooked in. Yeah. So once that gets dissipated, the good thing is it's not really tied anywhere internally. So I can see the body looks really healthy. It's actually quite good. It's just sitting there on the top of this. So I'm kind of holding it, looking at it, and I'm even checking underneath. It's all open and all that. I would have a session if
I,
he's,
I think that's where his key thing is now. Like, well, I've been working on all the other stuff, but he needs to work on that, letting go the fear, the healing process of the emotions and the things that have happened to him in his lifetime. I mean, many things like that to his core. Like he was shot by a friend, which I know is one of the things that
yeah, there's
has to
something
be able to.
tying to, yeah, it's tying to his origination. But
Yeah,
I can put, I mean, that it can
that
be,
kind of stuff.
it's, yeah, it's being kind of cleared. Yeah, it can be cleared.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. And I heard him snoring a minute ago after he was listening, so he's listening, but
Yeah,
not listening. So I'll
yeah,
listen
well,
to the replay again too.
yeah, he doesn't have to listen. I can feel
Yeah,
it. And it
yeah.
actually did release, actually quite a bit just released now. I can just see a cord that's actually there. So the plug is not there right now. That that moved. And so I can actually just see a cord now. So yeah, if you have him have a session, we can remove it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Much love to you all.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you for helping Michael in that way.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you. Beautiful. So we have time for a couple more because you're wonderful to watch, Cathleena. It's so amazing. You really do see multidimensionally in remote healing that makes it instant. It's amazing. So let's talk about ways that people can work with you. Your special offer, which is right here connected to this webpage, just click on the special offer button and you'll see that there's a 5-week activation series, and you can get that series with a private session with Cathleena. So tell us about this. It's restoring your human template to its truth frequency.
Yeah. And so, we talked about what the human template was earlier today, about, that it's the sort of unlimited container, so to speak, that our consciousness can create within. And the truth frequency is the 0 point. So it's bringing it into that 0 point where you're fully embodied as your multidimensional self. And so it's releasing false frequencies. And that series, which they're all done in the 0 point, which is like here. So anytime that anybody listens to this or participates in this, it's in the now moment. So it's always all activations that I do are in the 0 point. So not only can you listen to them anytime and it's in the now moment, but you can re-listen to them and they'll be brand new each time. And that series is, it's actually the first in several of them, but this one is the releasing the false masculine, feminine, the neutral. I don't remember all of them. Maybe you think you're looking at it, so you can tell me what they are.
Releasing the feminine, the false feminine spiritual frequency.
Yeah, false masculine, feminine, neutrality, but there's 2 more. Safety, safety and money and abundance. Those are the ones that, and so, yeah, it's, so, at what I do is step into the energy and within the body and release these frequencies of what those are.
Yeah, so there's 5 of those, 90 minutes each, like what we did today, but even more in depth. And so those are all immediate downloads. Perfect. And then if people want to work with you in a personal session, a private session over Zoom, they get those audio activations and they get the personal session too.
Yeah.
What goes on with that? How long is the personal session?
Yeah. By the way, too, I think those audios are 60 minutes. I don't think they're 90 minutes, but
okay, very good.
Yeah, but that's okay. But the session is pretty similar to what we're doing here. What I am able to do when I'm stepping in like that is I'm looking at, I can see the human template. I can see whatever is taking place there on many different levels, on lots of different, multidimensional levels. And so I just clear whatever it is that is not serving you to bring in more of your light and reconnect on different levels, depending on where you are. I mean, we have a lot of different bodies and different templates and different things of our multidimensional self. So it's like a recalibration of all of that. And so that's how I often work with people, is help them, release the quantum entanglement. And we talked a little bit about what quantum entanglement is earlier. And so there's a lot of quantum entanglement that is taking place. So I step into many different levels and many of us, have had many lifetimes on this planet as well as other planets. And so there's just a lot of different energies and frequencies and things that go on. And so I'm all about energy and frequency. So it's really bringing everything into a calibration of synergy. It's kind of what I do.
Yes. And if Cathleena can help you on your journey, we invite you to book a session with Cathleena. Again, that special offer is right here on this webpage. Click the special offer button. It's also in our Zoom chat line. Find it there and check it out. And let's see, how long in advance how long in advance are you booking your personal sessions now? So if someone purchases, will they be able to get in within a week or two, or what is that?
No, right now I think I'm booked out till November. So, and it may even be,
Not too bad then, just a couple of weeks. Can you
yeah,
believe we're already here?
yeah.
So that's pretty good. Cathleena is a popular, in-demand healer. And actually, that's not too bad to wait for a couple of weeks. If there's something going on and you need immediate attention, I'm certain that you could reach out to Cathleena and see if you can schedule something in, like if
Yeah,
there's
if I have any time or anything like that, depending on the person, I may often be able to find time, but it just depends. Yeah, but yeah, that's not much time,
it's not.
to wait. Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right, let's go to two more. We've got Michelle. Hi, Michelle. You are unmuted. Actually, you can unmute. Hi.
Hello. Hello, wonderful ladies. Thank you. Hello, Cathleena. I have a wonderful life in so many ways. What I really haven't kicked and I have a resistance to is the poverty consciousness I still carry. And I even have a resistance when I look towards releasing it. And I'm thinking, what's this?
Mm-hmm. So you carry poverty consciousness, is what you're saying?
Yes, right throughout all the generations of my family.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because it's just you're carrying guilt, you're carrying, it's like a shame and a guilt programming that goes very deep. I'd say have a session and we can go and get to that original root. I'm looking at it from a lineage root. And it's because, we, pretty much everybody who's here now has been in both sides of the coin of this false matrix that's going on, the victim victimizer positioning. So those that we've participated in the creation of this stuff that's gone on, this is what many individuals have done, is that they had forgotten their God consciousness in the beginning, and they participated in some of the things that are going on, and then have come back lifetime after lifetime to try to correct it, and then finally realize that I can't do that. I can't correct it within it. I need to disengage from it. And so that's often what happens in this lifetime. We're disengaging from it, but there is this consciousness that's still attached to like guilt and shame and all those types of things, and we haven't quite understood what that is from pure source level. So we need to go to those original roots and be able to have that aspect of self remember that they are also God consciousness, and that it was through the innocence of just choosing an experience that these events took place. And so it's never this nefarious kind of awful thing. It simply is an experience. And that's what I feel with you in the energy, is that's what it is that there's some timeline of that. And so you're deep inside, that's being held. So it just needs to be reached and released.
Yes, that's great. Thank you. Yes, I'm feeling that it's ancestral, and I'm also seeing timelines where I was wealthy and didn't act well. So
yeah,
I'm
exactly
balance of that as well in this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So if we have a session together, we'll step into that and do some clearing on that for you, for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. All right, let's go to Destine. Destine, you can unmute your microphone. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Wow, I'm so grateful. I have been dealing with this, it feels like a fake ego construct on the right side of my body, and I got rid of it. Like I cleared it and then it came back. But I think it's connected to a false light God.
Okay. And so you feel like that you have some false light God that is communicating with you or next to you?
He is tormenting me, honestly.
Mhm. Um, well, I'm not feeling.
He's connected to, I would say, an occupant that was like an old occupant that I had. I'm a walk-in, so he was connected to occupant number 5. But yeah, he's still kind of messing with me in the moment.
Well, I mean, that is not a false God. I mean, there's an individual that looks like an older male that is, maybe wanting some attention, communication. It feels like it's a little bit lost, but I think that would be easy to separate. He touches your heart because he's confused by the energy that is being expressed. But I think if you expand your heart outward and kind of open it to this life, that life being, you'll shed light to
Okay,
him.
maybe this is a better question. There is something projecting thought forms that are controlling my life, but they are not my thought forms. That's why I say ego, fake ego, because whatever this thing is, it's literally projecting thought forms into my reality that are creating my life and like creating my reality. And they're not good. What has been happening is not mine. I do not choose this. I have rescinded this. And it's like whoever's doing it doesn't care that it's messing with my life and making my life difficult.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm feeling something kind of different from what you're expressing. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't things that are being projected. There's a tremendous amount in the collective that's being projected into the mind and into different aspects of energy. But I feel like as you step in more, to your body, there's just a lot. Like I just felt you in the solar plexus. There's a lot of confusion. So there's a lot. That's a lot more to kind of work with. I would suggest if you have a session because I feel it like wrapped around your heart, but it's not. I think you stepping into your own divinity and recognizing that as you're describing as a walk-in, and whatever energies are coming forward. I tend to feel like more with you. It's different awareness of these different lifetimes that you've had that are all around you, that there's a lot of confusion about what that is. And,
Yeah.
and it feels like that as you get more familiar, you'll understand what is being projected around you. And the projections are aspects of yourself that are have just gone through many lifetimes. It just feels like there's a lot coming forward from the solar plexus, a lot of different identification, actually.
Mhm. Wow, thank you for that. Yeah, that's good information. Thank you for that. I
Sure,
appreciate that, Cathleena.
sure, you're welcome.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Destine. That feels empowering, sister. Thank you.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sure.
Yes, thank you.
Hmm.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for understanding this great multidimensional being that you are and connecting to your authentic joy and this love and this great beingness that you are. We are working towards unity consciousness. Keep our eyes on that prize, and we will see our world change significantly. I want to thank you, Cathleena, for being here. And as we say goodbye, just give us a moment to close our sacred circle.
Beautiful. Everybody wants to take some breaths. We'll just kind of come into this beautiful synergy together. And so I'm going to bring everybody just really comfortably into this divine moment, present moment, and we're going to bring in gratitude. Gratitude, tremendous gratitude. Gratitude. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Cathleena Hailley. We are in deep gratitude to the space you put us in today, and it's always here for us. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your light, for radiating your light and amplifying the light on our planet. If you'd like to work with Cathleena Hailley, please check out the special offer, and you can work with her and download her recordings. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Beautiful.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.